I'm Nick, and this is Kenny. We're the Malt Vault. Strap on.
Nick, you wanna lead in?
Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, lean into your mic too. I don't know if I already said that. Thanks. That was good.
We're good. Welcome to part 2 of our Molson Coors podcast. We are going to, in this episode, discuss Molson Canadian, tell you some fun facts about Molson, which now is part of the Molson Coors conglomerate that owns, over 100 different brands of beer?
90.
Yeah.
So close.
In up to 15 countries, it says.
50.
50 countries?
50.
Are you sure?
5-0.
Wow. Okay.
We need a fact checker on the staff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, like my thoughts on the
Nick.
Molson, Seth has the ABV and some of the ingredients on tap that he can recite to us. Our producer over there.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I have these on tap, if you will. So Molson Canadian received a 2.89 out of 5 on Untapped. So that's, I don't know, probably average. Golden had 2.
Pedestrian.
Yeah, pedestrian. Good word. 2.92, so slightly better.
For the pedestrians.
Canadian 5%. It's 4% in Ireland. That's something to look into. So be wary if you're in Ireland, you're not going to get the full 5%. 15 IBU and consists of barley malt, yeast, which I spelled yeast, which is odd to see on paper. Corn syrup, parentheses, maltose.
Perhaps
and-
you did it in jest.
Yeah, could have. Future me thought it would be funny, and then hops. So the difference there between that and Golden is Golden has hop extract instead of hops, which sounds like when you get like concentrate of orange juice.
Gotcha.
But who really knows? So one more thing.
I wonder what's cheaper to make. Like if you like per like volume. Like this is just speculation, obviously, but I wonder if like they made Golden Ale in order to like save on cost of Canadian. But my guess is you see a lot more Molson Canadian. My guess is that Golden's probably a little bit more expensive to make. Just a thought.
Just a quick
On the side?
quick Reddit search reveals that this guy came out and said the biggest reason most beer in Ireland is 4% or 4.5% instead of 5% is that manufacturers realize Irish people really like to drink 4 to 5 pints in the pub. But other things talk about government regulations, and they can sell it cheaper so they can sell more of it if it's less alcohol. So something with government.
Yeah, we're pro libertarian, so any big government stuff.
Yeah.
This podcast is for sure against.
I'm very pro libertarian. Like the government should mandate libertarianism so I can accept it.
We should lobby for that. Last thing.
I'm not getting political.
Yeah.
Good.
You can't. We would hate for the job that you quit to be mad about that. So last thing that I have, Molson Canadian Sub-Zero. Jury's still out on this one. We don't know what it means, but it said it's Molson Canadian served at temperatures below freezing.
Yeah, I think
That's so good. Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
So a Molson Sub-Zero is an ice cube.
Yeah,
Essentially,
it's no longer a liquid, right?
Let me take my Molson Canadian, throw it in the freezer for 15 minutes, and there's my Sub-Zero Molson.
yeah, it just sounds like a serving style, like when you order something on
like
the rocks.
meat or
Like that episode of Parks and Rec where they go to that bar where you consume alcohol in different forms but not liquid. Like Ron gets an old fashioned spritz or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a lotion that you rub on your skin.
A flash, from a camera.
Yeah. We'd try that
Oh,
sometime.
that's great.
All right, so do we want to go into some Canada facts, or how you want to proceed?
So Molson was actually originally from England, and he came over, as you told us, in
John Molson, not the big
John Molson. Yeah, the original.
Can put some
Molson.
respect on his name.
Yeah,
founder.
sorry. John the Molson from England. Sorry, let me give him his proper adieu. He came over in 1783 from England. He worked in a brewery and ended up buying a brewery, which has since been debunked. Right? It's no longer a thing.
I don't know.
I think he bought a
check
closed brewery.
Yeah, and he ended up starting that in Montreal.
Came over on a leaky boat.
Yeah, a leaky boat. Like they were very clear when they said it was a leaky boat. Like
I
did
used
he
to
have a
have- I
near
used to
death
have-
experience? And he's like, life sucks. I'm gonna start making beer.
I had that boat.
Yeah,
What was it called?
it's called 3 Kids and a Wife.
The Wet Dream.
There we go.
I do like that.
That's a leaky boat.
But seriously, like 16th century, what percent of boats weren't leaky? You could just say boat. I came over in a boat. It's implied that the thing was filling with water.
Yeah, but it like the overall adjective use of saying it's leaky, does that mean like let's make these people that know about it now panic that he almost died?
And we almost didn't have the Molson conglomerate.
Yeah, which is now like one of the 3rd largest beer companies in the entire world.
You might
now,
say it is
with their
the third.
partnership.
Yeah.
You could. So butterfly effect. How many famous people died that we just don't even know about? Think about it.
All of them.
It's tough. Except for
Take that home and chew it.
Okay, yeah, we can't really go anywhere with that, can we?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
All right.
Not without introspection.
So Kenny, in the last episode when we were talking about Coors, mentioned a lot of the brands that are affiliated with Coors.
Like Parented, probably.
Yeah, so there's a lot of subsidiaries of Molson that are now part of the Coors Molson company. I mean,
Let me help you out.
yeah. So
You're taking on water right now.
Help it. Yeah. Speaking of a leaky ship, let's shift this vessel into more safe waters for this border battle between Miller or Coors.
Let's
and
harbor.
Molson.
Let's harbor this bitch.
You're really trying to push this border battle. We're trying to get the listeners riled up.
This isn't really a tea party. If you know
We're
what
a
I'm saying.
very anti-Canadian podcast. Can I? Are you allowed to be? Okay, let's just not.
They're
even do that.
polite.
You just
you
gotta
can
be
just
sorry
call it
about
what it
it.
is.
Yeah, sorry. That's my.
I believe
that's
it's
on me.
pronounced sorry.
But we do share the largest border in the world. Well, longest, I guess, largest too. U.S. Canada.
Longest.
Some
Is it
more
because we're obese in America?
probably. I mean,
It's pretty rude of them to say.
more on that
Canada.
forthcoming.
Looking
But
at you, Canada.
so some other stuff when I was looking at the Canadian what we have with Canada. So the American Revolution, to me, that was the original Vietnam, because the draft dodgers back then were even trying to head to Canada. And on that note,
Get it?
when we were trying to like get some guys together to fight, the redcoats, we were hoping some of the Canadians would join, and we actually had them pre-approved for joining the United States, and that was in the Articles of Confederation.
Which turned out to be Capital One.
Yeah, it was a bank. It's always been a bank job. Jason Statham was there. It was pretty sick. War of 1812. Once the war broke out, I read this. It's probably false, but it said the American strategy was to seize Canada. Comments.
Yeah.
Everything you read is 100% true.
I mean, it had to have been. It makes sense, like logistically. Look at all the pelts and furs that we had, that there were in Canada. I mean,
Tradesmen.
yeah, tradesmen. Like I read about some skirmishes that happened.
What do you got?
There's one called the Cypress Hill Massacre. This one's pretty funny.
That was a sick mosh pit.
Yeah, I know. Like, well, I wonder if Cypress Hill was named after this massacre. Like, let's pick a really cool but like
Canadian battle.
obscure Canadian battle and name our rap group after. So this was like in the Northwest Territories, which is now in present day Saskatchewan, or from the movie Grown Ups, Saskatchewan. Where American wolf hunters or wolfers, as well as bison hunters, killed and had they had done unlawful killing of animals that ended up starting what now is the present day Mounties. So like this massacre that happened in this, like, you know how like you have the mounted unit, the Mounties that are dressed in the red uniforms with the
William
circular bim. Yeah, those.
Brendan Fraser.
This is the actual massacre that happened of these animals, of unlawful killing of like animals in Canada from American whiskey trade people, as well as like freighters. And this is the actual event that started the process of making Mounties. So like what is present day Mountie, the mounted police unit, this is the actual event that like jump started that.
Sorry, I blacked out after you said mounted unit. So trigger for me. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Sorry. Dude, there's some in my research, there's some really funny things. I'm going to leave this for our viewers.
In my
our
research,
listeners.
I'm looking at a
No.
lot of peer-reviewed articles here.
Quick fact check: Cypress Hill Gang was not named after this massacre. They were named after a street in southern LA that they hung out on.
Makes a lot more sense.
Different massacre.
Where their blood gang
Different,
hang
yeah.
out. Yeah. So I think we're good.
It's funny though, because like in my research and looking up stuff,
Also, and please
you can suck
continue.
it.
In my research from 4 minutes ago,
No, it's not 4 minutes ago. It's like 4 hours ago. But anyways, I digress. There's some really funny like conflicts between the U.S. and Canada, and it's kind of funny because they're so polite as a nation, historically speaking, that like some of these names are just so off the walls. Like there's the Pig War, and then there's the Pork and Beans War, which has a more professional name of the Aroostook War. But like some of these names and I'll leave this for our viewers
Shout
to
out
listen.
Weezer.
Yeah, for them to listen and perhaps do some leisurely research on their own. It's just funny, like some of these were like fighting over Maine, like the border of Maine. And I don't know if anybody's seen Super Troopers 2. It's literally very similar to what transpires in Super Troopers 2.
Yeah, like
When
does
they're-
art reflect reality or does reality reflect art? Is it one of those situations?
I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask Broken Lizard on that one, but I feel like
Yeah, let's get Mr. Lizard on the line.
I'm just drawing a correlation that, and I'm just going to go with it here because that's kind of how we do things
Yeah,
here.
you're an
this
American.
Malt Vault podcast.
We've always done that.
You're dug in.
Yeah, I'm going to make my stand.
I think our longtime listeners would respect that. So
shout out to him.
yeah, he is him. So
Again, I digress.
in my research, which was legitimate. So when you go to the Molson website, it has you select whether you're Canadian or American. Yeah, you can fact check me there.
I believe it.
To me, so that's first
plot
first,
thickens.
Yeah, first off, so if you click American, it just shows you some photos. If you click Canadian, it actually shows you the story of John Molson and whatnot. I think that's like they're just firing a wrister
Yeah.
right across our bow
I see what you did.
because they're assuming we can't read. Typically, we can't.
That's fair.
I think we should.
What are words?
How have we not given Mississippi back to like Great Britain? And on that note, is it because
Mississippi sucks.
if we did that, would it be
Armpit of hell.
it would be sort of ironic because we'd have a lot less kids trying to spell Mississippi, which helps them to be able to read. So maybe that's why we haven't done. I don't know. I was just a thought experiment.
yeah. No, it's
give it away.
I'm on your wavelength there.
Thanks.
I get it.
It's like a monkey paw curl situation. But anyway, so let me real quick the Canadian link. So Molson, it's the name on the label, but there's a lot behind it. With determination to make the world a better place. That's like super corporate speak.
Yeah.
John Molson built a legacy of more than just great beer. Today, we carry that belief in everything we do because the best way to honor history is to keep making it.
That's fair.
Yeah, but Molson,
Sounds like Nazi propaganda.
we are staunchly anti-Nazi.
Yes.
Fill in the word, right?
Not
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, correct. Molson, plutocrat, magnate, rich guy.
Yeah.
Was he bad for beer?
I don't necessarily think so. He's philanthropic. I mean, we read where they've done a lot of good with the Canadian Pride. I mean, damn them anyway. But
I mean, sorry, that was obnoxious, but it looks like he saw an open market of English and Irish immigrants, and
Exploited them.
yeah, absolutely, because he saw a hole in the market and he filled it at the cost of continuing the Irish
and then he doubled down and
stereotype,
bought a
I
bank.
guess. Of
He doubled
he
down,
started-
bought a
I
bank.
think he started it even.
So was he laundering his
There's
own
the Molson
money?
Bank. You can find Molson Canadian dollars that say from the Molson Bank. So
Yeah, that's
he's not just
Shady.
big beer or big bank. He's big Canada.
Well, maybe that's where we got, Biden bucks. They came from somewhere.
yeah, Molson.
Molson, he's the guy who started it.
yeah.
Yeah. So also, what do we have? 1786 founded the brewery. It's the oldest brewery in North America and Canada's second oldest company. So you might be wondering based on that, what's the first oldest company in Canada? And it is actually the Hudson's Bay Company. It sounds like there's an extra S on there.
Hudson's.
Hudson's.
Is it like? Should they just do 3 Z's?
That would help. I mean, I don't like the
You think it's Hudson's? Like their last name instead of being Hudson was Hudson's.
help out with the dilemma.
They're saying this is Hudson's.
Yeah, I don't love the apostrophe there, but I
Also,
can get by it.
Just throw 3 Z's and let's just call it a day.
He also,
But maybe that's the American in me.
he had a lumber yard.
Let's make it simple.
Issued loans, so he's a loan shark. The dude did everything.
Big on the steamboats too.
Yeah.
Steamboats.
Transportation got into big transportation and logistics, I think.
Yeah, he was like FedEx. Nick, ask your dad. Was Molson the original FedEx man? Call him up right now. It's a dad question.
Get him on the line.
Actually, don't, because I don't have the logistics to like pipe him in. So
Put him on speakerphone.
let's just say that he wouldn't
We
answer.
can get an off the cuff response.
Nope, we're good.
All right.
He wouldn't answer.
Dick.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
Beaver lumber. Interesting.
Yeah, beaver lumber. I saw that too.
Yeah, he's got home improvement.
Do you want to hear
chains?
You want to hear
and
some really funny
lumber
things
chains?
about some like more contemporary problems that we have?
Do I have to say yes?
In '94, he sold
you absolutely
75%
do.
interest in his hardware stores to Home Depot.
That's weird
With
because Canada is a huge
$150 million back in 1994. That's
Yeah, but you know
that's
how
some
big
gravy.
of a lumber and timber business we have with Canada?
Yeah, Big Wood.
You know how tough big wood.
They're a big problem.
Yeah.
Big wood.
Big wood. They're too polite,
you
so they wouldn't use it.
You think he made
Doesn't affect me personally.
an offer to Lowe's first, or how did that transpire? You think it's straight to Home Depot?
A tragic
I always think the Lowe's more like Southern because it's low.
I bet they lowballed him.
Yeah.
As I was.
I see.
All right, what else we got?
So
Beaver
here's a more contemporary problem with them. So they were actually in a lawsuit with a craft brewery in Wisconsin. Oddly enough, this guy's name is pretty legendary. The guy that owns this craft brewery that sued Molson Coors, his name was Mountain Crest. How legendary is that? Dude's named after a mountain.
Is he an Indian?
No, he's very Caucasian.
That's like stolen valor then.
Yeah. Well,
Cultural
so
appropriation.
here wherein lies the rub. So they actually were suing Coors Molson because they were in a handshake deal with the Liquor Board of Ontario, which for any of us Americans that don't know provinces, which is probably 98% of us, that's a giant province or a region of Canada. And they were in cahoots with them that didn't allow any imports to be sold. And they actually were found, I guess it doesn't really say they were found guilty, but they were essentially required to allow imported beers from the U.S. breweries, which is another conflict for us because why can't you enjoy U.S. beer? Why is it always got to be Canada?
They have good beer.
I know, but why you got to be exclusive about it? Let the world know.
So wait, okay. So it was a.
So now they have to allow in this.
Can you sum that up in one sentence? What that all meant?
Essentially, they were becoming a monopoly of Canadian beer through the Liquor Board of Ontario. So they weren't allowing. Essentially, had a trust, which is what in the Industrial Revolution we eliminated with antitrust laws. So that they were kind of trying to build a trust in Ontario.
I'll count that as a run-on. I think that plays. Yeah, if anybody noticed a break in the audio, it's not because we have equipment that can't handle more than 20 minutes of recording.
No, we're good.
I digress.
Molson's real big on the NHL front too.
Yeah, they own the Canadians.
They own the Canadians?
Yeah,
can you own a people?
The Canadians, the Habs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. 80% of the Canadians.
Well, they bought 80%, and then 2009 was it, Seth?
That's when they bought 80%.
The rest. They bought the other like 19.5%. So they own.
This says June of 2009, they bought 80% from Colorado businessman George Gillette.
They tried to own
Gillette? Would that be
4/5
Gillette
of a
razors?
person, and I don't appreciate that.
It's okay. It's socially acceptable because it's not 3/5.
Oh,
Then we'd have a real problem.
we're gonna have to bleep that out, I think. That probably crossed the line. Well, it is history.
Going
so
down a Wikipedia
there's that
hole
too.
here.
I didn't say that I agreed with it.
About 80% of the Canadians from a guy named George Gillette, which I was thinking might be the Razor Man. But no, he was just a guy that was a regional sales manager. Started buying shares in the Dolphins, sold the Dolphins, bought the Harlem Globetrotters, basically flipped the Harlem Globetrotters, and then started a Gillette Communications conglomerate that people are fascinating. Anyways,
What
It's
is
amazing
this?
what
Molson-
people do with a lot of money.
Molson,
what is happening here?
I don't know.
Sorry, my bad.
Molson, so they own 80%, if not more, of the Canadians. Oh, June 09. So,
Yeah, I think they bought it 80% of it a lot earlier, and then
no,
09
the same
they bought
month.
it
They bought it at 80% the first half of the month, and then the last half they were like, oh, yeah, we found the extra money.
Yeah, they check their couch or whatever.
all. Also, what happens when you have a lot of when you check their bank that they own?
Big couch.
You're like, oh, we found some more bank.
So, second decade of the 21st century. Why do they have to say things weird? What year is that?
Yeah,
Second decade of the 21st century. Would
Another
be
problem we have with Canada.
2010s. Molson and Coors have exclusive rights to sell their beverages at home arenas of Montreal Canadiens, Ottawa Senators, Maple Leafs, Oilers, Avalanche, Coyotes, and Detroit Red Wings. Their beverage can be purchased at other sports venues such as the Sabres, KeyBank Center, the Philadelphia Flyers, and the Wells Fargo Center, the Capitals and the Verizon Center, Bridgestone Arena, home of the Predators.
All right, so they got an exclusive.
They're big on hockey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which that's my first. I mean, I wasn't four, but these boys in the tall cans, the 24 ounces,
Tall variety.
the tall boys.
Tall
This
drink
is
of water.
This is a beer that I can enjoy pretty much any time. It's really refreshing, quite frankly. I can drink it pretty much any occasion.
My research has shown me that this beer is good during hockey season.
Yeah. It's good when it's cold.
That's not your research. That's
It's
market,
good when
that's
it's
market
Sub-Zero.
consumerism telling you that it has to be good because
They-
they only sell that during hockey.
They incepted me, and they did a damn good job.
They got you.
You know, I'm a little disappointed with the untapped
Got
score. Would you say it was 2.8?
2.6.
Two. What? Man, I can't read.
One was 2.9.
Canadians were right. 2.89 for Molson Canadian, and then Molson
5.
Molson Golden is 2.92. Yeah, out of 5. We don't have any Goldens busted out yet. I think maybe we'll have to
Yeah, this one's
grab a
warm.
few. One thing that we didn't touch on,
It's got French on it.
if I can look in my notes here. So John Molson helped create the first ever railway to, and I quote, our neighbors in the South.
Oh,
So let me ask you this. Our neighbors in the South, are you offended by that phrase? How does that make you feel? What's your gut feeling?
I mean,
I'm not offended by it. Neighbors to the south. Oh, I like neighbors. My neighbor to the south.
Getting a little friendly.
He's all right.
Okay. Well,
I'm not really a fan of my neighbors of the South, but being referred to as a neighbor of the South, I don't have a problem with.
They built our first railroads. He helped fund our first railroads.
it just says the first ever railway to our neighbors in the South. And when I say
Oh,
it,
two. So crossing the border
well,
potentially.
yeah, and when I say that, it means like I wrote it and I might have transcribed it incorrectly.
Gotcha.
But they probably did a more ethical job of building a railroad than the U.S. did. So you got to give them props for that.
Yeah, we don't win it. We didn't win any awards for that.
Yeah, it definitely didn't go off the rails.
I see what you did there.
I'm lost. But
Train joke.
yep, died in
Didn't see that one coming.
1836. Go ahead and pour one out.
Oh, for
Yeah, for our boy of high fever.
Kenny, you're going to have to clean that up
The
later.
dude was so high that he died.
High
it was
fever.
high.
It said high fever.
A fever that's really high.
Why didn't they do some bloodletting?
They didn't know John Snyder.
Yeah. Well, you don't want.
All right,
Anyways.
for the viewers, this is the first taste of John Snyder. I guess he's our friend and he has a mole.
A really big mole.
And that's
it's
all
the
you need
source
to
of his
know.
power.
It has a musk. It emits pheromones.
It's very charismatic.
Nobody can really deny it
We'll bring him in. You'll see.
for sure. So what?
We'll need 3 cameras for it.
You can only watch the screen with one eye, though. It's like The Ring.
Those are the notes.
Pulses at us.
My research is,
Don't want to make it angry.
There's not as much controversy as there was with. I mean, I guess it's you get all the Coors controversy too, but
Well, like, isn't that pompous though? Because like Canada, they're polite. They do
I think,
backhand deals, and
I will say they found out what happens when you try to go toe to toe though with big beer. So They had us. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So 1927, I found this. Molson helps establish first ever bottle return program. Is that liberal propaganda?
Is it the Green New Deal?
The New Deal.
Maybe it was his way of.
The Beer New Deal.
Maybe he knew. Wait a minute. Hold on. Conspiracy theory here. So like, maybe he knew about the Great Depression before the Great Depression, and he was like, "I'm gonna start making some money now."
I think people want to make money regardless of what's coming. So
There's a depression coming, so I should probably start making money now.
I haven't been making any money for a
No,
while.
I'm saying he knew it was coming. He's like,
depression-proof.
let's come up with a way to save some money before this shit hits the fan. Because maybe the recycle program was just, we're going to reuse these bottles. We're not going to clean them, sanitize them, melt them down, make new bottles.
Yeah.
Let's just fill these bad boys up again.
Yeah, I mean, that
throw
was
a tap on it, call it a day.
Kenny, yeah, basically they're not. No,
They're not cleaning. What were the sanitary rules then?
They put it in a hot water
Again,
bath. And that's about
Canada,
it.
pompous. They think that they're too good for
Well,
everybody
their beer
else.
probably kills germs, right? Any germs they have is already in there.
yeah, this podcast probably won't go north of the border, so I think we're good with any,
Slander.
Yeah,
We'd be
I don't think they can be too mad about this.
we'd be censored up there. So
They're too polite anyway. What are they going to do? Send the mounted unit at us?
I don't know how many Canadians do you actually know.
can you tell?
Like, don't ask. Don't. What do you mean? Can you tell? Like, can you
I
tell?
mean, can you tell by looking at them? I don't think so.
Are we allowed to ask that?
We're like the
They're
melting
Canadians.
pot.
It's
They're
not-
like the
yeah, it's
salad
Canadians.
Hey, you look Canadian, buddy.
Yeah,
I think you can tell by their accent, but that's about it.
I think they're pretty short. They got like they quack or they honk.
Kenny, are
very
you
territorial.
describing Canadian geese?
Is that? I thought that was what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was-
Well, that makes sense.
Sidebar though, can you differentiate American geese from Canadian geese?
I don't know what an American goose
That's an age-old paradox.
is.
So Molson did figure out what happens when you go against big beer. I mean, they were also big beer, but we can kind of start to get a ranking here. They put out a 2022. I think this was a Super Bowl commercial with a cyclist riding up a hill, and then he cracks open a blue can that might have looked like a Bud Light can and douses it over his head. And they basically said light beer should not taste like water; it should taste like beer. And the Better Business Bureau sided with Anheuser-Busch in their lawsuit, and they weren't allowed to run that commercial anymore because they said that, quote, saying a beer tastes like water is a measurable attribute, and customers might reasonably expect the statement was supported. So they basically said they couldn't run the commercial because them saying Bud Light tasted like water was too close
to
the
reality.
truth. So
Points for America.
yeah,
They're blurring the line, and we can't deal with that.
obviously Molson. I'd take Molson Canadian over any probably.
So what you're saying is the BBB essentially started cancel culture against Anheuser-Busch?
Anheuser-Busch probably owns the BBB.
It might. We'll get into another episode later on about Anheuser-Busch, and we'll
I'll
really
probably get
like
sued for
delve
libel
in.
for saying that.
We'll really delve into like comparisons of like the overall magnitude and like clout that both of these beers, like these major beer companies have. And you can form your own opinion.
How's this for
Perhaps.
mob speak?
Or maybe you'll take us
In response to the ruling,
for our word.
Anheuser-Busch said it appreciated the Better Business Bureau's decision.
Of course it did.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Probably.
I won't break your kneecaps.
Yeah, we got to get into who's got lobbyists and
Lead pipes.
what they're actually
They gave her the Tanya Harding business.
lobbying. Yeah.
It's a Nancy Kerrigan,
Kerrigan.
right? Tanya Harding had the boyfriend crack the kneecaps of Nancy Kerrigan.
I feel like you could just say either, and you would know.
Was that also a Canadian-U.S. conflict?
Was one of them Canadian?
I know. Can you look that up for me?
Kerrigan.
No,
Every time I hear the
I
name
can't.
Kerrigan, I think of the Casper movie.
Mrs. Kerrigan.
I know that's all I remember.
That's a
Anyways.
good movie. My kids love it.
Also, does this have corn syrup? Did we figure that out?
I don't believe it
No,
did.
Coors Banquet did.
Molson sued Anheuser-Busch in 2019
I lied. This does.
Damn it.
that
This
accused
diabetes.
Molson Coors for saying its beer was sweetened with rice. Oh, that's right. So they said that this was Molson came out and said that they sweetened this with rice. I don't know how that's a selling point, but it was actually corn syrup.
Like a superior sweetener.
Yeah. Anyways,
I bet people who know a lot about beer would be able to expound on that.
Yeah, we're just casual beer drinkers that like to taste and talk about the effects that it has.
Or people who know a reasonable about beer might also be able to tell us about that.
Actually, people who know little about beer might be able to teach us stuff too.
We should listen to a podcast.
This is not an educational podcast about what beer is and why beer is the way that it is.
I would like to know the why of beer.
We just want to know. Yeah.
I think if they've been on this long, they know that.
Yeah.
They're like, I haven't learned shit.
Yeah.
If you're still listening right now, that's on you.
Yeah. We didn't do this.
We appreciate you. Let's not cloud our judgment.
No.
Click the link in my Patreon page,
Yeah.
please. Please.
Are you saying Patreon?
Yeah, that's the thing that YouTubers say.
Patron.
I don't know what it is, but
Is it
they
patron?
say it and their videos are good.
Patron.
Nick, I'm not editing out all these pops that is going on. You're just going to be exploding people's eardrums.
It's fine.
Let it ride. Go ahead.
Cool.
Do one more for the road.
No.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in today to watch
That was
us
supple.
talk about some Molson beers. And we appreciate you watching the Malt Vault podcast and letting us be a part of your life. Have a great day.
Strap off.